Everyone, welcome to the show. I have some truly insane, but not necessarily surprising stories to share with you. I'm really shocked that mainstream media really hasn't picked this up, or if they have, I haven't really seen much of it, any media coverage of this. So I don't know if you all know about this feud that went on between Donald Trump and Maine's governor, Janet Mills. If not, in a nutshell, Trump issued an executive order at the beginning of his presidency. He said that transgender girls were no longer allowed to play in female sports. Well, Governor Mills publicly stood up to him over this issue. They were at some event. Trump called her out by name and he mentioned, you need to get this done. I'm going to cut off your federal funding if you don't do it. And so the governor snapped back at him and she was like, well, I'll see you in court, something to that effect. As you can imagine, little Trumple thin skin got his ego bruised. And so now it's been revealed one of Trump's minions shut off programs to the state of Maine, despite knowing that it would cause harm to the residents of that state. So this is the acting commissioner for the Social Security Administration who did this, a guy named Leland Dudek. I've mentioned him before. He made the mistake of putting this nefarious plan in writing, and then someone leaked it to the Democrats in Congress. So evidently, on February 27th, Dudek emailed someone in the Social Security Department, one of his employees, and he inquired about, hey, what contracts do we have with the state of Maine? 3:30 p.m., an employee responds to him, and they said to Dudek, quote, terminating the contracts would result in improper payments and potential for identity theft. That evening, 7:09 p.m., Dudek replies back to this staffer and he says, quote, please cancel the contracts. While our improper payments will go up and fraudsters may compromise identities, no money will go from the public trust to a petulant child. So not only is Dudek saying, oh, yeah, that whole waste, fraud, and abuse thing we're trying to get rid of. Yeah, I don't really care about that. So improper payments go up. So there's fraud. Oh, well, it's not like we have been saying from day one that that's what we're trying to get rid of, right? But then he's also calling the governor of Maine a petulant child when he works for and is a huge supporter of Donald Trump. I mean, the irony is like, it's painful. It's so strong. Anyway, so this staffer did what they were told. They canceled 2 contracts with Maine, and this was on March 5th. And then there was a huge backlash, and then they reinstated the contracts. And then Dudek comes out in public and tells news reporters, "Oh, well, we reinstated this. We had no idea that this was going to cause harm, and we have rectified the situation now." No, bullshit, guy. You knew up front. You knew before you did this, and you did it purposely. So Democrat Gerald Conley, he goes by Jerry Conley. He is the ranking member. He's on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. This was the chair that everybody wanted AOC to get, but they gave it to Jerry Conley. Anyway, that's another whole can of worms, but another Oprah. So after Conley gets this letter, he gets these leaked emails, he sent a letter to Dudek, and he is demanding Dudek's resignation, which we all know how that's going to go. He also says in this letter, I want all of your communication with the White House because I want to see, did Trump instruct you to do this? And then he requested that Dudek come in and sit for an interview with the committee. Congressman Connolly wrote in part, quote, I write with grave concern regarding your decision to punish the people of Maine and undermine the integrity of the Social Security Administration in an effort to further the president's personal grievances. On February 27th, 2025, you ordered the termination of 2 contracts between the Social Security Administration and the state of Maine as direct retaliation for statements made by Maine Governor Janet Mills that upset President Donald Trump. Email documentation indicates that you ordered these contracts terminated, even though you knew that doing so would increase improper payments and create opportunities for fraudsters. The acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration should serve the American people, not create waste, fraud, and abuse on the taxpayer's dime. I call on you to resign immediately, and I request that you sit for a transcribed interview with staff of the Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. So, like I said, I'm sure nothing's going to come of this because we have seen how completely lawless the Trump administration has been. But I definitely will keep you in the loop if I hear anything more on that story. In the meantime, I have another story about Trump retribution toward democratically run states. So on Friday of last week, a federal judge slammed the Trump administration for their quote unquote covert plan to punish states with sanctuary laws that protect immigrants. And this judge called out the administration for violating the judge's court order against that punishment. So this was U.S. District Judge John McConnell. He had previously ruled in favor of various states. There were 23 states that filed a lawsuit against the government for withholding funds for emergencies. This is through FEMA. So, this is for the FEMA program, which is for natural disasters in states, like the horrific wildfires we just had in California, like the, hurricanes that we had and the flooding that we had in other various states. So where there are blue state governments, Trump is accused of withholding funds, where many of his supporters live. There are many people in California and other blue states that voted for Donald Trump. So what they're saying is in March, what the judge said, is in March, he had ordered the Trump administration to, quote, immediately end any funding, pause. As we've seen, though, we've seen this over and over again for the last 2+ months. Since Trump took office, he has been defying judges' orders. So they held a hearing last Friday. The judge said that the state attorney generals, quote, presented undisputed evidence that the administration was still withholding disaster relief as essentially punishment for not caving to his cruel policies. The last part was my words, not the judge. But, of course, Trump's attorneys go in there, or I should say the Justice Department attorneys go in there. They try to, sell this as, this is an activist judge. He's trying to obstruct, our agenda, blah, blah, blah. That's all this is. There's nothing legitimate about it. So there's no reason to believe that they're going to comply with this latest order, just like they've ignored all of the other judges' orders. So again, you have people in these states. I mean, Trump acts like everybody in a blue state is a Democrat. Like everybody in Illinois, everybody in California, everybody in New York. There are millions of people who have voted for him in blue states. So he is punishing, in addition to Democrats, he is punishing his own voters in this way. Are they going to hear about this? Probably not, because they're in their own little right-wing news bubble, unfortunately. So tell a friend. All right, guys, I'll keep you posted on all of this. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please like, please share, and subscribe. Please donate if you can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.